In this video, we will focus on authorization with the embedded LDAP server we defined in the previous video. We will focus on how to set up and retrieve the user's authorities from LDAP and on some of the more advanced customizations available to us in the namespace. We will start by defining the authorities of the users in the LDIF setup file. We will then configure Spring Security to read the authorities from LDAP, and we will show how to fine-tune this search query to adapt to a more complex LDAP structure, which is very common in production environments. Let's start with the data from LDAP. In the previous video, we had user data defined in the LDIF file. Now we need to add role data into this file as well. This will represent the user's authorities in Spring Security. So we have added the organizational unit for roles, and at the end, we have added the roles themselves. We are defining the user and the admin role, exactly like in the previous sections. And each of these roles is defining its members. So, for example, the user role is defining admin 1, admin 2, and user 1 as having this role, and admin is only defining admin 1 and admin 2. Next, we'll set up the Spring XML configuration to interact with LDAP not only to authenticate the user, as in previous videos, but to retrieve the authorities as well. Since the roles were defined within the roles organizational unit in the LDIF file, we need to specify the root node from which the search will start in LDAP via group search base. And since the role definitions were using a member in the user's LDIF file, we'll need to specify a custom expression to search for these roles in LDAP. So let's uncomment this, restart the server, and let's make sure everything works as expected. So we're logging in with admin 1, and indeed we are able to see the authenticated page and everything is working as it should be. At this point, we have a working authentication and authorization process with LDAP. We were able to define an embedded LDAP server, populate it with both user and role data, and successfully configure Spring Security to authenticate and load up the authorities of a user. Now that authentication is working as expected, let's take a look at the additional customizations that we have available for LDAP. Our user structure in LDAP is a simple one. We have all of our users under a single people node. However, with a more complex LDAP structure where that may no longer be true, we have the option to locate the user in a more flexible way. We can do that via the namespace. We can specify a search base to locate the root node where the search for the users will need to start, and we can specify a search filter. Let's restart the server and let's make sure we can still log in as expected. Keep in mind that the user's login name will be substituted for this parameter in the filter, so it will search for an entry with the UID attribute equal to the username. So let's see how the login performs. We are logging in with admin 1, and we are indeed able to see the authenticated page. And we are logging in with user 1, and we are also able to see the authenticated page just as expected. So at the end of this video, we have implemented in practice the authorization process against the embedded LDAP server we defined in the previous video.